actually spoke in the Aramaic, which means be opened. Jesus utters the word that means to be opened. At this, the man's ears were opened, his tongue was loosened, and he began to speak plainly. Jesus commanded them not to tell anyone, but the more he did so, the more they kept talking about it. People were overwhelmed with amazement. He has done everything well, they said. He even makes the deaf hear and the mute speak. What my struggle was in this text, I really became a Christ follower many years ago now, where I came to the point of believing that Jesus really was who he said he was, that the accounts of Jesus are true, and this is the living word that was divinely inspired in men, given to us to understand the nature and character of God through his son Jesus. I came to the point of believing that a long time ago. The difficulty here wasn't that Jesus would heal this man and literally give speech to a man who could not speak and hearing to someone who was deaf. The struggle for me was the mystery that followed here at the end of this account. It's as if Jesus gave this man food, a gourmet dinner, and then told him not to eat it. He gives a man his voice, and then immediately tells him not to speak. And I couldn't get it. I wrote this out. I was downtown, as I told you, I was downtown journaling one morning, just writing out thoughts, thinking of message ideas, some of my prayer, and this was a prayer that I began to write out, like, God, why would you do this? I know you don't play games with us. Sometimes we feel that way. You ever feel that God's messing with you? Take one step forward spiritually. You see God. You think God's beginning to work in your life. You feel encouraged, and then it seems maybe he's left you, or you're now 2 steps back. And I've grown in my faith to the point of understanding God is good in everything he does. And even what is mysterious, there's goodness waiting for us to understand and comprehend a better God. And so I was just writing this out. God, why would you give a man his voice, a man who's never been able to speak and hear himself speak? And the context suggests that he could speak, but it was probably very jumbled and confusing and indiscernible to those who were listening. Why would you give a man his voice and then immediately command him not to speak of something, let alone what you've done for this man? I've read for many years the commands of Jesus. By the way, this is a command. The word command is given here. Mark tells us that Jesus commanded him and his friends to tell no one. And the language suggests it's an imperative, not a suggestion, but do not tell anyone. It wasn't said with wrath or with anger and emotion. It was just with seriousness. Now don't tell anyone what I've done for you. I've read for years Jesus commands storms, he commands demons, he commands diseases, and all obey him. And in this instance, he commands a group of people who he's done something phenomenal for, and it's as if, ironically, his command falls on deaf ears, isn't it? The more it suggests that he doesn't just say it once. He says it to the man, and then maybe to a group of his friends, and then the larger group of his friends who brought them. At this, the man's ears were open, his tongue was loose, and Jesus commanded them not to tell anyone. But the more he did so, it's as if he continues to stress and emphasize, don't tell anyone. No, you can't tell anybody that I've done this for you. The more he did so, the more they kept talking about it. Well, yeah. I mean, what does Jesus think? If I told my girls, we got a surprise. We're going to Disney World. We're going to Disney World next month. You can't tell anybody. You can't tell your neighbors. Can't tell your friends in class. And it really does seem like, man, sometimes God does mess with us. Does he realistically think that this man cannot possibly contain the absolute pinnacle moment of his life that he has never been able to speak or hear, and now he can because of the hand of one who approached him? So there's more to this, and before I finish the thought on Mark 7, I want to go back to the whole Genesis account. If we could, Brad, just throw up on Genesis 1 here. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. We get this. We understand God created all that there is in the universe and the stars and the galaxies. And we can understand that, even maybe the way the earth is formed and been changed over time, where the continents maybe or probably were